Welcome to Fractured Chaos.
I used to believe in love. That was before James taught me it's just another word for weakness. 3 years together, and he vanished overnight. No goodbye, no explanation. Just gone. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You want to know how I made the man who shattered my heart fall back in love with me, just so I could destroy him completely? Pour yourself something strong. You're going to need it. We had plans that Friday night. Dinner at that Italian place where we had our first date. I spent hours getting ready, sent him a selfie. "Can't wait to see you tonight." He replied with a heart. That was the last I ever heard from him. The restaurant staff started giving me pitying looks after the first hour. By the second hour, I knew something was wrong. Called him 17 times. Nothing. Went to his apartment. Empty. Not just empty. Wiped clean. Like he never existed. His friends claimed they didn't know anything. His social media? Deleted. It was like he'd evaporated into thin air. What they didn't know is that James had whispered, "I love you," into my ear that very morning as I pretended to sleep. What they couldn't possibly guess is that I had found the engagement ring hidden in his sock drawer just 2 days before. For 6 months, I was a ghost myself. Lost 15 pounds. Couldn't sleep. Kept checking my phone, convinced there must be some explanation. An accident? Witness protection? Amnesia? I stalked his mom's Facebook. Nothing. His sister's Instagram. Nothing. Until one random Tuesday afternoon when my best friend Zoe called. "Abby," she said, her voice strange, "I think you should come over." There on her phone was a photo posted by some girl I'd never seen before. The caption, "1 year with my soulmate." And there was James, his arm wrapped around her, looking happy. Happier than he ever looked with me. The timestamp on their first photo together. 2 months before he disappeared from my life. Something broke inside me that day. Or maybe something was finally fixed. The tears dried up, replaced by something colder, clearer, more focused. I spent weeks learning everything about this girl, Melissa. Her job at the marketing firm, her favorite brunch spot, her Tuesday yoga class, her pathetic little fashion blog. I dyed my brown hair blonde, lost more weight, started dressing like her. Not obviously enough that anyone would notice, but enough that I became subconsciously familiar to him. A ghost of a memory he couldn't quite place. What Melissa didn't realize when she posted her entire life online was that she was giving me the blueprint to destroy it. And what James never understood was that I'd always been smarter than him. More patient, more determined. I got a job at the coffee shop across from Melissa's office. Not serving. I couldn't risk him recognizing me. I worked in the back, watching, waiting, learning his new routine. The way he'd kiss her goodbye every morning at 8:43. The way he still stirred his coffee 3 times counterclockwise. The shocking truth? I wasn't just studying them. I was becoming invisible in plain sight. The perfect predator. It took 4 months of planning before I made my move. I accidentally bumped into him when Melissa was out of town visiting her parents. Made it seem like complete coincidence. The look on his face. Pure shock, then guilt, then something else. Curiosity. "Abby! Oh my God, I can't believe it's you!" I pretended to be over it all. Friendly. Glowing even. I had practiced this moment so many times that the rage burning inside me never reached my eyes. "James, wow, how long has it been? You look great." He suggested coffee to catch up. I hesitated just long enough to make him think it was his idea. Made him work for it. That coffee shop conversation, I controlled every second of it. Made him believe I had moved on completely. Had an amazing new job. Was dating someone casually. Living my best life. What he didn't know was that my new job was studying him. My new apartment was chosen specifically because it was 3 blocks from his. My new boyfriend didn't exist. When I left that coffee shop, I knew exactly what would happen next. James would go home, look me up online, and find the carefully curated fiction I had created. He'd see the Instagram posts backdated to create a whole new life. He'd see the LinkedIn profile showcasing my fake career success. And he would remember what it felt like to be with someone who challenged him intellectually. Someone who wasn't constantly posting inspirational quotes and avocado toast. The hook was set. I made myself scarce after that. Ignored his first text. Responded casually to the second. By the third week, he was pursuing me relentlessly. Melissa was posting less. They were fighting more. I kept everything in the friend zone for 2 excruciating months. Let him confess how he'd never stopped thinking about me. Let him tell me leaving was the biggest mistake of his life. When he finally kissed me, I pulled away. You're with someone, James. This isn't right. The moral high ground, so useful when you have none. He broke up with Melissa the next day, told her it wasn't working out, never mentioned me. Here's something that still makes me smile. The night he ended things with her, he texted me immediately after. But I waited 3 days to respond. Let him feel that same gnawing uncertainty, that same desperate checking of his phone. When I finally agreed to date him again, he thought he had won me back. The irony was delicious. Over the next year, I became everything he had ever wanted. I laughed at his jokes, supported his ambitions, never complained when he worked late. Amazing what you can tolerate when you know it's temporary. I suggested he delete dating apps from his phone for both our peace of mind. I recommended he change his number for a fresh start. I encouraged him to take that job across town. Such a great opportunity. Step by step, I was isolating him from his support system, just as he had once isolated me from mine. The most chilling part? I made him dependent on me emotionally while remaining completely detached myself. Every "I love you" from me was hollow. Every intimate moment, I was somewhere else in my mind, counting down to destruction. What he didn't know was that I had cameras in our apartment. I read every text. I knew every password. I had copies of his keys, his ID, everything. And I was in contact with Melissa the entire time. Yes, Melissa. Surprising, isn't it? Turns out I wasn't the first person James had ghosted, or the second. The girl before me lasted 4 years before she came home to an empty apartment. When I found Melissa 6 months into my plan, I expected to hate her. Instead, I found a broken woman who had been manipulated just like me. She thought she was the reason he left me. I thought I was the reason he left his ex before me. We compared notes. Patterns emerged. The love bombing. The subtle controlling behaviors. The way he isolated us from friends. Melissa became my ally. My co-conspirator. Sometimes the enemy of your enemy becomes something more. Those nights I told James I was working late, I was with Melissa, meticulously planning every detail of what was to come. Our second anniversary approached, marking 2 years since I had re-entered his life. 1 year since we moved in together. I planned a surprise weekend getaway. Told him to pack light, that I'd take care of everything. I spent thousands on the perfect romantic cabin in the mountains. No neighbors for miles. Limited cell service. Just us and the wilderness. That morning, I woke up early, made his favorite breakfast. Gave him a thoughtful gift, a vintage watch engraved with "Forever Yours." We drove 3 hours into the mountains, the tension building inside me with every mile. I had waited 1,095 days for this moment. At the cabin, I poured champagne, proposed a toast. "To us," I said, my voice steady. "To forever." "To forever," he echoed, clueless about what was coming. After dinner, I excused myself to freshen up. Instead, I grabbed my pre-packed bag from its hiding place. When I returned to the main room, his face changed. He saw my coat, my keys. "Going somewhere?" he asked, confusion clouding his features. "Actually, yes," I replied. "And you're staying." That's when Melissa walked in through the back door. The look on his face. Worth every second of the past 2 years. Pure shock as his current girlfriend and his ex stood side by side, smiling. What is happening?" he stammered. I placed my phone on the table between us. Hit play on a video compilation. James with another woman from 3 months ago. Screenshots of dating app conversations. Evidence of the money he'd been siphoning from my account. You're probably wondering how long we've known, I said calmly. Melissa and I have been friends for over a year now. We compared notes, found your other victims, created a little support group. His face drained of color as I placed my key to our apartment next to my phone. Your car won't start. We made sure of that. Your phone has no service up here. Your wallet is currently in my purse, and everyone you know thinks we're on a romantic getaway until Monday. Melissa placed a small duffel bag on the floor. There's enough food and water for 3 days. The reservation is paid through the weekend. By the time you make it back to civilization, I continued, you'll find things have changed. You're crazy, he sputtered. Both of you. I just smiled. No, James, we're thorough. While he was processing what was happening, Melissa and I walked out, locking the door behind us. We took his phone, which contained his entire digital life. We took his wallet. We took his future. By the time he hiked down that mountain 3 days later, he discovered his belongings moved out of our apartment. His bank accounts emptied. His social media profiles deleted. His job informed of his immediate resignation. His friends sent evidence of his cheating and manipulation. I left him one final voicemail from a new number he wouldn't recognize. Now you know how it feels. Melissa and I used his money to start a support network for others like us. We created a database tracking men with his pattern of behavior. The ultimate irony? He can't even tell this story without making himself the villain. He has to live knowing we outsmarted him, that we're out there somewhere, watching, waiting. You're probably wondering if I ever loved him during those 2 years of planning. If any part of me wanted to forgive him. If I ever considered backing out. Not for a single second. The most powerful thing I learned: revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's best served exactly the way they hurt you, with a smile on your face and love in your voice, right up until the moment you disappear. They say living well is the best revenge. They're wrong. The best revenge is making them understand precisely what they did to you, then walking away without looking back. I have a new name now, a new city, a new life. And somewhere out there, James is still checking his phone, wondering if I'll ever contact him again. I won't. Some ghosts never come back, but they never truly leave you either.